Okay, let's get this manifold on here. I don't want to get that too tight or I'll break it off. I need to turn it a little bit more though. Please don't break. All right, that's good enough. This restrictor goes on the driver's side. A couple little tabs to bend over. Put just a little bit of sealant around these water jackets. All of the bolts that are not on the very edge get sealant. If you don't put sealant on them, they'll leak oil and water. The torque on this manifold is 35 foot-pounds as far as I could tell from looking it up online. I'm gonna go 15 foot-pounds and then 35. You're supposed to work from the center out. I need to get a swivel extension to get this one. Click. Get this oil pressure sending unit installed. This is the water neck that came with the truck. And when I went and bought a new radiator hose, and I noticed that it's very loose on here. Luckily, I had the correct size water neck in my parts stash. So this one's measuring 1.3. And this one measures 1.56. Next, we'll put the water neck on. Got a new gasket, 180-degree thermostat, and the water neck I found out of my parts stash. Finding top dead center. So the intake valve here on number 1 is closing. I've got the timing mark set on 0. I was cleaning up this distributor and I noticed that the advance mechanism has been tack welded. See the tack weld there and there, and I mean, I could just cut them tack welds off, but now I'm not sure about this distributor, so I'll look into ordering another one. My local parts store had one of these HEI distributors in stock. Let's see what we got. Got some instructions. Little bag of small stuff. Couple of stickers. Put one of these stickers on this fridge. So whenever you put that distributor in, you got to make sure your oil pump is aligned. So I'm going to use this little oil pump tool, see if I can get it to align. And I've got a little tape right where I think it needs to be. Okay, so it took me about 4 or 5 tries, but I finally got it engaged in that oil pump and fully seated. And we also have the rotor pointing at #1 cylinder. Next, I'll install the hold down bracket, and I have a little flange bolt. I'll just snug this bolt just a little bit. I want to be able to turn the distributor. I've got some good rubber valve cover gaskets. They shouldn't need any sealant. Okay, let's put these pretty valve covers on here now. So I've got this little tune-up kit we'll throw on there next. I'm going to use the cap that came with the distributor because it's all brass. This is, I don't know if it's just plain steel. Put a little grease on this insulator. This little contactor in, and the coil. Oops, this should have went in first. there's this little Allen key with the distributor, and I got to reading about it, and you use it to set the starting point for the vacuum and advance adjustment. So I'll go ahead and do that. So it says to rotate the screw till it stops counterclockwise. Damn, it's a long-winded screw. I wish I'd have done this when the distributor was out. So once it bottoms out, turn it 4 turns clockwise. 2, 3, 4. Next, I'll install this new old stock EGR valve, made in the USA. Click, click. Next, we'll install the hot air choke with a new gasket. Click, click. Okay, next we'll get this manifold vacuum fitting. I'm not really sure what's going to connect here yet, so I'm just going to cap it. Got some R44T spark plugs. So I'm going to gap all these plugs. The internet says 45 thousandths. That one's right on the money. $15 foot-pounds. Well, it don't seem very tight at all. I think we'll go with 20. These loose heat shields are driving me crazy. But I'm gonna have to take the motor mount bolt out and jack the engine up to get to them. Here's the old plugs. It just looks like the engine was running a little rich. Next, I'll install these spark plug wires. I also have a new tubing line for the fuel to the carburetor. So we'll see if it fits. So I've got these little wire separator kits I'm also gonna use. That's what they look like installed. There's one. Number 3. Number 5. Number 7. These aftermarket wire separators do a really good job of separating the wires and keeping them off the manifold, but I just don't like the way it looks. I would rather have the original GM wire separators. It just looks much better. So I doubt I can find a set, but I'll give it a try. Okay, this is wire number 8. Okay, wire number 6. Wire number 4, and finally wire number 2. I've got a ton of room since that alternator is removed, so I'll go ahead and put that new fuel line on. I hope this fuel line fits because there was several choices and I just picked one. So hopefully it works. So this tubing, just setting it up here in place, it's not gonna fit. I want it to run behind the water pump. So I'm gonna end up cutting it here and re-flaring that end. Okay, let's see if I can put a double 45 flare on this tubing. So that is the 3/8 OPI die. And now we need the OP2. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Okay, well, the fuel line was a bust. I guess I need more practice with that flare until I ended up just cutting the tube and putting a little bubble on it. And I'm just gonna run a short hose from here to the fuel pump. Now, I'm not going to give up on running this fuel line correctly using steel tubing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to order some tubing and try to find a good pair of tubing benders, and then I'm just going to do it myself. This alternator has been sitting in my garage for a couple of years. I don't remember what I bought it for, or I don't even remember when I bought it, but it's the same as the alternator that was on the truck. It just needs to be clocked. Okay, I should be able to just turn this. Well, I say I should. Something's catching. Okay, I'm gonna have to pop this off. Before I can slide it back together, I got to take the two brushes and put them back in here, and then you can put a little pin in this hole to hold them in while you slide the cover back on. Okay, you see I've got the brushes pushed in and I got a little pin in there holding them. I made the pin out of a little piece of tie wire. Perfect. All right, and now all you got to do is pull the wire. New upper radiator hose. Okay, we'll plug in the oil pressure sending unit and the HEI. Throttle cable. And water temperature sending. Next, I'll install these two new heater hoses. One is 5/8 and one is 3/4. Okay, that's the 5/8 hose. That's the 3/4 hose. So that's your 3/4 hose. I found one of these heater fittings at my local parts store. And this is what it looks like. Hose is running. Gave myself a little extra slack. I also found this little clip in my part stash, and I'm not exactly sure where it mounts, but I think it goes right here. I think it bolts into that little hole. Okay, I'm gonna run the vacuum line for the vacuum advance. Okay, we're getting real close to putting that carburetor on here. I've done everything I can do, or that I have parts for this engine bay. I still have a oil filter cap and a grommet for here and a grommet for here on order. The grommet here goes to your air cleaner. A pipe goes from it to the air cleaner, and the grommet on this side is for your PCV valve that goes to your carburetor. The next step will be to install the carburetor and see if this thing runs, but I do need to revisit a couple of things before we do that. I'm going to replace the fuel tank sending unit. The fuel tank and fuel sending unit that I put in are for an 87 with throttle body fuel injection. At the time, I thought I was going to put throttle body injection in this truck, but I may just stay with this engine that's in it. I'm going to see if I can put a sending unit for a carbureted engine in here and take this fuel injection sending unit out. What I did to make this fuel injection sending unit work with the carburetor is I disconnected the fuel pump here from the suction line and added this piece of hose, and that was just temporary. I'm just going to go and install a sending unit for a carburetor. I think the only difference in the fuel injection tank and the carbureted tank is there's a baffle in there. Anyway, we'll see. I think it's possible that baffle could interfere with the fuel level float, but we'll see. Yeah, I can feel it hitting that float. Yeah, I don't feel like buying another tank, so I just turned the float this way. There's nothing interfering with it now. So this is your fuel supply, this is your fuel return, and this is your tank vent. And I'm just gonna plug it off right now. I'm gonna go on ahead and fix this sending unit, and I can use it in the gold truck. I'm just putting 2 bolts holding that tank in for now. The reason is I'm gonna pull the tank back off when I fix this cab corner. And plus, you know, there may be another reason I need to take it off there. So it's just temporary. And I'll just leave this gas cap a little bit loose until I can get that vent tubed in to the engine compartment. There's something that I noticed after I rebuilt this carburetor. This carburetor does not have the linkage for the TV cable for the 700R4 transmission. This is the linkage that I took out of my parts carburetor, and it's set up for the TV cable, this piece here. So I'm gonna put it in the carburetor that I rebuilt. I really hated to take this carburetor back apart like that after I just rebuilt it, but I needed this fitting for the TV cable. Anyway, the job wasn't that bad, and I didn't mess anything up. I'm gonna go on and replace the idle solenoid too. The little tab here on this choke adjuster is broke off. My parts carburetor has one, so I'm going to replace it. I almost forgot this hot air choke needs a little gasket here. Or it'll leak vacuum. I'm going to adjust it to where that choke just closes. Right there. And now I'm going to install this fitting for the power brake booster that was missing off the carburetor that I rebuilt. The last thing I want to do is replace these idle mixture screws. They have an odd shape, and I tried to buy a tool that would fit them, but I didn't have any luck. So that's what they look like. My replacement idle screws have slots, so I'll be able to adjust them with a screwdriver. To start off with, I'll adjust them all the way in and then back them out 1.5 turns. That seems to be what everybody else does. So that's all the way in, 1/2. All the way in, 1.5. Well, all finished now. I think this is going to turn out to be a good carburetor. 2 more little things I want to do to this carburetor before I install it. Got a new air cleaner stud. And I have the brake booster adapter. Okay, new gasket. I'm going to tighten these to 36 inch-pounds. And 100 inch-pounds. Throttle return spring. And throttle. The hot air choke lines are installed. This is from the Quadrajet manual, and it shows how to install the fuel filter. Just make sure the hole in the filter is facing out. I just want to make sure this fuel filter is installed correctly. Okay, so the spring, filter with the hole facing out. And I do have a little gasket in there for this. I was looking in the manual and there is a torque for this inlet nut, but I don't have any way to torque it. So we'll just get it tight. Now I'll install this power brake vacuum hose. I've got this power steering pump disconnected for this startup because listen to it. Also, it's empty, and I think this front seal is leaking, so I've got a new power steering pump on order. Well, that's it. Nothing left to do but start it. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of fuel in the carburetor bowl.
It's in neutral?
It should be in park, Dad.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Dad, go ahead and turn the key. Try it again. Okay. Good, Dad. Turn this distributor a little bit. Okay, Dad, try it again. Okay, stop. All right, try it again. Okay, hold up. Okay, I'm gonna turn the distributor a little bit more. Okay, Dad, try it again. Okay, stop. All right, I'm gonna turn these idle mixture screws in about a half a turn. All right, now try it one more time. Okay, Dad, that's good. Something's off, the timing or something. So I'm gonna have to look at it. Okay, so I checked and made sure all my spark plug wires were run correct, and they were. So I want to give it another try. Yeah, I think the timing must be out, so I'm gonna check that again. I'm almost positive that I timed this right. I know that I was on the compression stroke and then coming around to line up the timing mark on the harmonic balancer to 0. But I'm gonna check just to make sure. I'm gonna pull the number 1 spark plug. Had to go get me one of these Lone Wolf 5000s. Okay, that's compression right there. I'm gonna see if I can feel the top of that piston. Okay, that's the piston going back down. Okay. Piston's coming up. Okay, Okay, I think I got it at top dead center right there. Top dead center is way off, or the harmonic balancer is way off from 0. Right now I got it set at top dead center, and you see the timing mark is to the left of the tab, so that's not even close. So I'm gonna pull off the distributor and I'm gonna see where the rotor's pointing. Okay, that rotor is now pointing to between cylinders 5 and 7. And when I timed the truck, I had the timing mark set on what I thought was 0, and I pointed at number 1. So now that I know I'm at top dead center, I'm gonna pull the distributor and turn it 1 tooth and get it pointing back at number 1 again. Okay, I moved it over 1 tooth and I've got it pointing at number 1. I got everything put back together, but it's late and we'll just try it again tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna give it one more try. I'm gonna back these mixture screws back out a half a turn to where I originally had them at 1.5 turns. Put a little fuel in this carburetor bowl. Turn these mixture screws. I'm gonna start at 0 and I'm gonna come out 1/4 of a turn. Okay, I turned the distributor a little bit counterclockwise and it seemed to help, so I'm gonna try it again. Well, it runs, but it's got a dead miss. I can hear something clanking over here. Maybe it's something inside the valve cover. You know, it's different valve covers and it wasn't making that noise before. So I'll have to look at that. Other than that, I'm out of time, so I don't have time to do any tuning or troubleshooting. So we'll just see what we can do with it next time. Found this C10 air cleaner on the online junkyard. There's some good stuff coming up for the Marketplace Disaster Truck. Right here in these 4 boxes, I've got a rare factory option that's going to be installed for the wheels. Got new tires. I've got a couple of pretty good used doors to put on there. There's a few little minor dents and dings. I want to repair these cab corners, passenger and driver side.